ago, we went over the parts of this one, but the parts are really the same on all the vertebrae. But we're going to get a little hairy with some of these. And so we're going to do it here. We're going to label it on our paper. And then we are going to, it's bothering me that that's crooked. Then we're going to try to review it because this can be hard for some students. The paper has to be crooked for y'all to see. Okay. So I'm going to say it in terms of a giraffe. This looks like this would be the nose of the giraffe, right? The nose of the giraffe. So this is actually making up your spine. So do y'all remember what that's called? That is the spinous process. This is the spinous process. And so then if I go here to the ears of the giraffe, okay, the ears of the giraffe. So these are the things that are coming out straight across in your back. And the good thing, I was listening to Ms. Johnson talk this morning, and she's doing A&P 2, and she was going over the parts of the cervical vertebra because she is talking about blood vessels that are going up through those parts. So she said spinous process, transverse process, because that she was talking about transverse foramen. Do you remember this is the transverse process. It's the ones that go straight across. It's basically the ears of the giraffe. Okay, so spinous process, transverse process. This little part right here, lamina. We're going to label our piece of thing in just a minute. So basically it's face. The reason this is an important structure, sometimes your spinal cord, you'll have like a bulging disc or something that will be pressing on your spinal cord. To relieve that pressure, many times they will cut right there in that bone and leave an opening in that bone, called laminectomy, to release that pressure of the spinal cord. Okay, so what's the point? What's the nose? Spinous process. The ears, transverse process. The face, I know it's not really the face, but maybe okay. So this is the lamina here. Okay. Right here where I have my fingers on all the vertebrae, and all these pieces are the same on all the vertebrae. This is the body. This is the body. This hole, what do you think goes through that hole? There's something very important going through that hole. Your spinal cord's going through there. That's it, because your vertebrae are all sitting. There's one. Can you see it? This is some lumbars. That blue thing that you're seeing there, that's your spinal cord going through there. Okay, so it's a hole. This is called your vertebral foramen. Vertebral foramen is the hole that's in the middle of the vertebra. Now, last time we learned, these are joined together. So I like this one because this one's actually showing the cartilage as well. So if I look this way, you see this hole? That's the vertebral foramen. What we go through there? Your spinal cord. Vertebral foramen is the hole that goes through one vertebra. Now, these two are connected, so I'm going to turn them. Do you see this hole that's right there between the two of them? And on that model that's hanging up there, you can see the nerves coming out. Nerves come out here, but this is the hole that's in between these two vertebrae. So if I tag here, this whole hole here, that is that intervertebral foramen. Do you remember us talking about that last time? We did. Intervertebral foramen is the hole between the two, if they're connected. I like to tag it on the model where the nerves are coming out. So you guys on the end of your tables, you can see those yellow nerves coming out on the side there of that one. Or it could get tagged on this because this is a good one too. Okay. So this is intervertebral foramen because it's in between two different vertebrae. This is vertebral foramen because it's just in one vertebra. And I would tag it probably there. I would say name that hole and I would point at it there. Are you okay so far? All right. Now it's going to get a little bit hairier. I'm going to turn it to the side. Okay, to the side here, you've got this little, if I connect to, I don't have one, or I don't have another one to connect it to of this type, but it is making up the top part of that. Oh, I had him upside down. Okay, so do you see that? That little archway looking thing there? The other part's going to make, it's going to connect to another, it'll make the foramen. But just on a single bone, this is called the neural arch. Doesn't it look like an arch? Doesn't it look like an archway? Yeah, we're going to label that on that paper with you. So y'all don't worry about trying to label yourself. I'll label with you. Okay, so that is the neural arch. Everybody okay? So this is the what? That is the body. This is the transverse process. This is the spinous process. Remember, this is what's making your spine. When you feel your backbone, this is what you're feeling. That's making your spine. So his nose is the spinous process. On every single one of these guys, doesn't matter what kind it is, that nose looking thing is the spinous process. That is making up your spine. On the thoracic, it's more curved downward because of it's going around the thoracic cavity. So it makes sense that it needs to be more curved in that area. You got your lungs and your hearts and stuff. So it's more bent downward there, spinous. Okay, and then we had the little face, that was the lamina, right? And then we talked about this little area right here, which is the neural arch. Now, if I look right above the neural arch, there's this little spot here. So here's the body, and there's the neural arch right above there. There's this spot right here, right above the neural arch is what I would call it. That's known as the pedicle. That is the pedicle. The pedicle is closest to the body because students will mix up the lamina and the pedicle. The pedicle is going to be next to the body. The lamina is making up the face area here. So lamina, pedicle. Y'all with me so far? All right, I need to get another thread. Okay, so we talked about the ears, and I'm sorry that I call it ears, but maybe y'all are seeing it. Is it just my imagination, or can y'all imagine that as ears? Okay, so on a giraffe, these would be the ears. Those are the transverse process. So what the heck are these dang things sticking up here? On the giraffe, that would be like his little horns. Are y'all with me? Okay, so what these things do, these little flat regions here, they connect. Here's another vertebra. They connect your vertebra there. Now you have some cartilage in between, but can you see that this is connecting to the underside of the other guy? And you guys have a whole strand of vertebra there. Y'all can see this. Can you see how they're going to connect there? Now we do have cartilage in between, but that horn is going to connect with like the jowls. Y'all know what jowls are? I might be using terms y'all don't know what I'm doing. So the horns of this. So this is on top of its head. So it would be the superior. Does that make sense? When two bones connect, we say they articulate. So this is the superior articular facet because it's going to facet the bones together. Superior articular facet. We are going to label it here in a minute. So basically that's the horns. If there is a superior, there's probably an inferior, which means on bottom. So I'm going to pull that second one out and let's see where he's connecting. Can you see where he's connecting there? So underneath, can you see those little spots right there? Those are the inferior. So his horns, superior articular facets, and his cheeks or his jowls underneath here are the inferior. Does that make sense? Because they're connecting.